You're listening to the Iron and Grace podcast, so pick up your sword and join the good fight.
An excellent wife who can find. She is far more precious than jewels. The heart of her husband trusts in her, and he will have no lack of gain. Welcome to Iron and Grace.
This is Drew.
This is Kyle. This is my lovely wife, Jerri-Lynn.
Hi.
Who's moderately nervous to be here today. So we're going to have fun. Make her feel uncomfortable. Maybe make Drew feel uncomfortable.
Probably a little bit.
I'm
excited.
Probably not make me feel uncomfortable because I don't get uncomfortable.
Maybe we'll try. Maybe that'll be a goal of today is to make him uncomfortable.
Good luck.
We might be able to achieve that.
I think we can. I've been kicked off the bench, which I'm happy about. But I'm excited to have you here and to get your perspective because we hear Kyle's perspective on marriage, relationships. So it's good to get the whole full circle now, which we normally miss. And what better than Valentine's Day because it is Valentine's Day.
Yeah. So hopefully in the next hour, everything that I've said on the last however many episodes we've done doesn't get undone.
It's going to get more affirmed. And we're both going to prove to be very unlikable.
That's okay.
Well, I've already done that.
Yeah,
so.
that's okay. Anybody that's going to be here is probably unlikable too.
Yeah, all three people that listen to this podcast.
Yeah.
Two of them seem to like us and one of them not so much.
Yeah.
Hi, Michelle.
Cool.
Yeah. Michelle's our biggest fan. Shout out to Michelle. I didn't put that I was going to put that on like the IG thing, but I felt like it was kind of cheesy to be like the marriage post to put that at the bottom. So I left it out. But she's definitely our biggest fan.
Yeah. It's been a couple weeks, so just between life
busy.
and Deanna being sick and kids being sick.
Mm-hmm. So hopefully we'll be back in the swing of things. So let's kick it off. I think a good place to start for y'all, being a Valentine's Day themed one, is y'all's start of y'all's relationship. That's always something that I found was interesting because y'all started dating early, and I feel like you guys knew pretty early on what the end goal was.
I certainly did. And I've kind of given my side of the story on here before, so love.
Starting from which point?
That creepy bald guy's talking to me.
I was not bald. I was not bald when we met. Well, we can start from how we met.
How we met?
Yeah. What you remember. Her memory is better than mine, by the way. So
Okay, so
I
we
remember
were
a cute girl with hot pink hair. And
15. I did have a short, hot pink haircut. And Kyle had long black hair. And I was cleaning with my sister, who we don't particularly get along well. So my brother decided to rescue me and pick me up for the day and take me to the mall. And when we showed up, Kyle was there.
this was back in the early 2000s when going to the mall was the thing to do.
It was. Yeah. It was. And they had fountains and stuff. And we're walking through the mall, and he kept trying to walk on these little, I don't know, what would you call them?
It was like the ledge around the fountain. I was
ledge
not
around-
trying. I was
Yeah.
successfully walking on them just fine, doing my best to, look impressive for the cute girl with pink hair. Doing more of a good job looking like an idiot, but
And I was
It worked.
ridiculously paranoid about following rules. And so I told him if he did not get down from the ledges, I was going to deck him.
That was it. I was sold.
And that was our first meeting. And that was it.
That's good, though. I like that. I like that. That is good. So at what point y'all's relationship progressed? Was it for y'all, was marriage in both of y'all's mind pretty early on that's what y'all wanted? Not saying right initially, right off the jump, but...
At 15 now.
No. But what, because y'all started dating early. What age were y'all when you got married?
20.
20.
I proposed at 16 though. So.
And I figured I could put him off forever.
As long as possible.
As long as possible.
Which worked for 4 years.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think, but in today's day and age, so 20 is pretty young still to get married, especially in our time. So was that, and like, how was that navigating being married young like that? Was it, I know we've talked about that before, when you get married, it builds strength as a relationship. And I think that's kind of counterintuitive to what culture thinks now. But what was y'all's experience like those early years when you first,
Well, We really didn't have a whole lot of resistance to getting married.
Yeah.
We'd been together, for since we were 15 at that point, and we had been living together. We had been living together pretty much since we were 16, because I kind of left my parents' house and moved in with her in her parents' house. There's a whole lot. There's a lot there.
That's another podcast.
Yeah. But so I think when I called my mom, I was like, "Hey, we're getting married." She was like,
"Whoa,
okay." Like, thanks for the excitement, Mom. But I mean, it was kind of like, yeah, it's about time.
Yeah.
I mean, there were some people that we didn't really know. They were like, "Oh man, you're getting married already?" Yeah.
There was a lot of when you tell someone you're getting married at 20, the instant response for a lot of people was, "Well, when are you due?"
Yeah, right.
Or how old are your kids?
Yeah. Which we weren't pregnant. But no, I'd say we didn't. At least I didn't feel a whole lot of resistance, and I also, I mean, you know me well enough at this point. I don't care.
Yeah,
it doesn't really. Yeah. That kind of stuff doesn't bother me so much. Every once in a while I'll get the like the person at the grocery store that sees we have 5 kids and like, well, what causes that, right? And I'm like, well,
yeah,
yes, and obviously I'm good enough at it. So, but other than that, what do you think? You're slightly more sensitive to that stuff, or at least you were than me.
It was kind of uncomfortable, but I didn't like being the center of attention.
Yeah.
And being married young unintentionally makes you the center of attention.
Yeah.
And then, like, once I was pregnant with our oldest, and we were still pretty young, and then people would ask me if I was done with high school, and that made me feel real uncomfortable.
Don't you wish people would ask you now if you were done with high school?
It might be nice. Might be.
So, how old were you when y'all had your first?
22.
22. Which, I mean, the same principle applies. I mean, you're young. Now you've got a little one. What was the transition to that, from being, because y'all have been together a while at that point, in a relationship for a while, and I mean, married 2 years at that point. So was it pretty much off to the races? Okay, now kind of gives you purpose almost to the marriage, more so than before?
Well, Rose was our first kid, but we had a miscarriage before Rose. So it was pretty shortly after we got married that you got pregnant.
Yeah. My due date was the day before our anniversary.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was hard.
Yeah.
And then it was, a year, and we had Rose. But at that time we were, and jump in and fix me where I screw this up. We were relatively heavily involved in the church that we were going to at the time, and there were other families, young married families, that were very much so in the same stage of life as us. So it was kind of like, Noel and Leah, they were pregnant at the same time, and Josh and Leslie, were they pregnant at the same time too? I don't remember.
I don't remember.
More or less. Like, there were other families kind of the same. So it wasn't like we're the only ones doing this. We don't know what, and of course we didn't know what to do, just like everybody with their first kid doesn't know what to do. But I don't know. We were nervous, but I think we were pretty excited.
Yeah.
We were excited, but we were at a weird phase because Kyle was working endlessly.
Yeah.
And so it was trying to navigate what we wanted life to be, but he was in Norfolk from 6 o'clock in the morning until 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah, I was leaving the house at 5 in the morning and I wouldn't leave the shop there until probably 6:30, and it's a drive. Yeah. So yeah, I'd get home 7:30, 8 o'clock. So I guess that's me saying, yeah, we were excited.
Nervous.
This me was excited, but I was also hardly ever home. So she's navigating all of the emotions of all of the things basically without me.
Yeah. In that time, what advice would you give, looking back at a young married couple? I mean, I know Mateo and Michelle are a little bit older than y'all were, but what advice would you give in that time? Things maybe you did right, you did wrong, something you would have changed maybe.
Sharing responsibilities. Like for the first 2 kids, realistically, I tried so hard to make sure that I took on absolutely everything. All of the like nighttime feedings, diaper changes, cleaning up the house, taking out the garbage, all of it. But I was dealing with all kinds of hormones and all of the emotions that go with having a new baby, and then all of the physical ramifications. And it took a heavy toll on me mentally and physically. It kind of drove not a big wedge, but it made it hard for him to understand what I was going through, because he never saw what I was doing because he was at work.
Yeah.
And so I would say sharing that burden would be important.
I think, it has always seemed like, it's hard for her to go, hey, I need help with this.
Yeah.
Because she feels like, well, I'm not doing good enough, therefore I need to ask for help.
Yeah.
And he's going to see it that way. But for me, it's like when she asks for help, it's like an opportunity. Like I'm kind of excited when she asks for help. I mean, shoot, we're, 22 years into a relationship, and it still bothers her when she has to ask me for help. And it's still exciting for me when she asks for help.
Which I think there's a good and a bad in that, right? Like there's a healthy aspect to that, and there's a self-reliance aspect. But that's something we've talked about with Deanna's grandma, because she's the same way. I mean, different relationship there than a marriage, but she's steadfast at doing things herself, And the one way we described it is, with her, it's a blessing being able to have her with us and being able to help care for her, especially as she ages and gets older and is going to need more help. But one thing that I've found in life and in our marriage is when you don't ask for help, you're almost like Kyle described, like stripping that blessing that helping is from that other person by trying to hold it in. And that's one thing we've experienced, kind of like y'all described. But
well, and you feel like you're trying to protect the person. You're trying to do them a service by carrying it all, but you don't realize the toll that it takes. Yeah. You just don't until it's too late. Yeah. And then you're
and us guys can be kind of dumb to stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, well, why are you so stressed out? Let's be like, relax. It's okay. Don't worry about it. I'm not worried that these things aren't done or whatever. It doesn't bother me any. But in her mind, it's, well, you may not be bothered, but I feel like I'm failing.
Yeah. And it feeds that divide. He's gone, you're there. So it's not that you're hiding things, but when you don't want him to know that there's these struggles, you are kind of in a way hiding things.
A little bit, yeah.
Kind of breaks that communication down a little bit.
Yeah.
So when you were working in Norfolk, that was before you worked in Virginia Beach, right? That's not the same place.
That was the same place. Yeah, same place.
So we'll jump right into the next aspect of starting the business, because that's something that I think.
Well, that was right in there too.
Yeah,
that was like
that was at the jump, right?
That was probably the hardest.
Transition.
Yeah, for a million reasons. Like for one, I went from working a lot to working
we had
endlessly
a cot at the shop.
Yeah.
We would take naps on.
It was regular for me to work 20 hours. Straight. And was it 2 weeks? Which today's Valentine's Day, which is also the anniversary of me leaving that old job.
Really?
Yeah, 13 years ago. It was 2 weeks later we found out she was pregnant with our second daughter, Elizabeth.
Yep. 2 weeks later with $1,000 in the bank account.
Yeah. So it was like, and this is where men and women differ. Because was I stressed and burdened? Yes, of course. But it was also like adventure. Like this is adventure here. Like I don't have any clue what the heck's going to happen. I get to work and build and do all these things, and it's all on my shoulders. And there's the mindset of like the world is on my shoulders, and then there's the mindset of like the world is on my shoulders. And so there was a lot of that, but we were broke. I mean, we were broke, and I'm 13 years in. I still barely know how to run a business. I knew nothing about running a business. So there was a lot there that, I was dealing with. and focusing on. And then, of course, all the things that she's carrying, she's taking care of Rose. Mm-hmm. And now she's pregnant, and you've got all of the early pregnancy stuff
to deal with, yeah.
And I'm, living at the shop, basically. So that was tough.
Yeah. Did you have a similar perspective to that? I'd imagine.
I was going to say, I don't know, how close did I get?
I don't know. That time was like trying to live in fire.
Yeah.
There was just so much going on there. So very much. But I think that probably was necessary in our relationship. I don't know why or how, but maybe.
Yeah, I agree.
Because we had to, that was the beginning of us. We had to rely on ourselves, on each other for so long. But this was a whole new way of it.
Yeah.
Because now it wasn't just we're relying on each other for comfort, support. Let's make sure we don't drop whatever balls we need to. Yeah. Now it was all of those things, but now we have to make our income source too.
Yeah.
And we have to make sure that everything else still runs smoothly. And we also had a house at the time.
Yeah, we had bought a house.
We had bought a house. Mm-hmm. So we had a minimum amount of money that we had to make every month. It wasn't like, we could move into a cheaper place because we had no equity in that house.
Yeah, right. We were upside down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We had actually, when we bought it, we owner financed it off of
one of the
elders from our church.
Yeah.
He was flipping houses, and that was one of his flip houses, and he owner financed it for us. So we were upside down.
Yeah. And that was the little house down the road, right?
No,
that was a different house.
This was a house in Suffolk.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, the little house down the road, we were good. We bought that house cash.
At what point did y'all transition? How long were y'all at the house in Suffolk?
How long were we at the house in Suffolk? Because we bought the little
4
house
years?
10 years ago, right?
Till Mavis was 4, so 6 years.
Okay.
We were there a while.
We were there a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when we moved, we had
at that point, we
6 years.
little equity.
Yeah, a little bit.
built
No,
up. Yeah.
It was like $10,000.
Yeah.
It's better than nothing. And it's better than being underwater. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What time period was this? Year-wise?
Jeez. Well, I mean, I quit that job in 2013.
Yeah.
So,
2 years after that, 2015.
Yeah.
2015, we sold that house.
So that one thing that always intrigued me about y'all's story is when were y'all always anticipating having a large family? Was that a one-sided thing, or was that both of y'all are like, we want a bunch of kids?
I always, from the time I was a kid, I wanted to get married and have kids. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't think I had ever really figured out what that meant, like numbers-wise. Like, we're going to have 5 kids, or we're going to have 2 kids, or whatever. I don't think I ever really, I think I always thought maybe at least 2, because I knew only children were, a pain in the ass.
I bet.
But outside of that, I don't. Did we ever talk about how many kids we wanted to have before having kids?
Slightly. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't sure I wanted kids.
Okay.
I was like, we can leave it up to God whether or not we end up having kids. But
thanks, buddy.
I wasn't entirely sold on the prospect because kids were like a lot of work.
A little scary.
I had taken care of my niece.
So you kind of knew what that was.
So I knew, and I wasn't quite sure that I wanted to permanently sign on to that.
Yeah, I get that.
And so I'm like,
honey, you have permanently
I have. I've kind of signed up.
You've done a really good job of filling that role.
Yeah. So I'm like, we can leave it up to God whether or not we have any kids at all, and then we'll go from there. Mm-hmm. And then we had 1, and it was like, well, we need at least 2, but ideally 3.
Yeah.
Because that way, if one of them's in trouble or one of them doesn't want to play, there's a spare.
Yeah. Which makes sense. It makes sense. And I think that was one thing we've talked about before on the podcast is it's almost like when you see, because a lot of the families at jiu-jitsu, they have more than 1 kid, 2 kids, 3 kids, 4 kids. Mm-hmm. And did y'all reach a point where it was like, okay, 1 and 2 is kind of tricky, but once you reach a point of, especially where you're at now with Rose being a little bit older.
Yeah. Well, so, and anytime somebody talks about having kids, especially with their first kid, you're like, okay, the first kid is hard because you don't know anything. You know nothing. Everything is scary.
Everything's new.
Yeah. Second kid, you're like, all right, I kind of know how this works. And then the third kid's back to chaos because now all of a sudden you're outnumbered.
No.
You don't think so?
No.
You don't agree?
I think the first kid was tremendously difficult. It was intimidating. Mm-hmm. And if you look at that first year and that was your only experience, I could see saying one kid.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. The first kid's hard.
Second kid felt harder for me.
Really?
Yeah, but that was the beginning of the shock.
I was going to say, that was like the early second kid. That was different just because of all the other things that we had going on at the same time. Yeah. But I mean, like,
Third kid felt
parenting
easier.
In general, it seems like the second kid is definitely easier.
Until they got older. Once they started getting older and we had 3 that were actually running around, then that started feeling rough because.
Well, and Mavis is the third kid, and Mavis is a firecracker. So.
Yeah.
She is.
And what is the age difference between the first 3?
The 2 years each.
Yeah. So Rose is 14 and a half. Liza's 12. Mavis is 10. Then Alice is 6 and Mark is 3.
So no one had reached that like responsible kid age.
No.
Everyone was still in that like window of chaos.
Yeah, we had 3 kids under the age of 5.
The third one was a little bit easier because at that point, Rose, the oldest, really liked baby dolls. And we had a live baby doll. Yeah. And so she wanted to help. All of a sudden, it didn't matter what I told her to do. Like I could tell her, hey, go play. I'm going to go change your sister. And it was, she's running into the room with a diaper, a bottle, some clothes, blankets. She's got shoes, a diaper bag packed.
And I think we've talked about that before too, is like when you talk about only children, nothing against only children, but those type of things would never be experienced.
Yeah, nothing against only children. I have the thing against the parents of the only children.
There you go.
It's not kids' fault.
Kids like what Rose has gained from that experience, you know, if someone was an only kid or even maybe 1 or 2 kids, she would have never really experienced that. I mean, think about how much motherhood Rose learned in those years that's going to shape her into the future, you know, because those would be experiences that a family of 1 or 2 kids wouldn't ever have.
Yeah.
You know, they might a little bit, but not like y'all have experienced.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. And then the 4th kid, Alice. So I would not say that any of our kids were accidents, but
Alice was the only planned one.
Oh yeah, Alice was planned. Well, 4th kid was planned.
Yes.
But it was kind of one of those, we would get to the point after a couple of years, it was like, well.
Yeah, the chaos had subsided a little bit.
Well, not try not to. You know, everybody could do that math. And then Alice was intentional, and she was born right at the very beginning of COVID. Like she was born, February 6th, 2020.
I think lockdowns started like February 9th.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they started when she was in the hospital, when Jerri-Lynn was in the hospital having Alice, they started requesting that people wear masks in the hospital. Yeah. And that was like the very, very, before anything had been mentioned of COVID outside of that, at least before we had heard any of it.
Yeah.
Nothing stateside at that point, except for California, but it didn't really seem like anything was necessarily confirmed. It was just overly cautious. In this country. And then we're in the hospital and they put on an announcement saying that you're not allowed out of your room without permission. And you had to have the face masks and you weren't allowed to go in a different room. You could only walk in the hallway, but only so many people at a time. And then I had 2 nurses. 2 of my nurses had just gotten back from trips overseas and both of them were sick.
Wow, that's kind of terrifying.
Yeah. Alice came home and we all got real sick.
Yeah.
So had y'all homeschooled at that point?
Yeah. None of our kids have ever been public school.
Yeah, because we traveled a lot.
Yeah. Was that for Kyle's work mostly?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would spend like 3 months a year in a hotel.
Traveling, yeah. So that's another thing. I didn't write that on my little list, but the homeschooling experience, right? Because I think growing up, I mean, we all went to public school, right? Everybody here went to public school. So we had the public school experience.
And homeschool kids were weird.
They were weird. And I almost feel like when you look at from the public school, I think differently now, but from the public school back then, you obviously thought weird. Yeah. But you also thought kind of like maybe they weren't learning as well. They weren't as educated. And like the structure of the family felt maybe weaker in a way. But I think y'all are the perfect example of the benefits that homeschool had to offer.
Our 10-year-old, just because you still have to do the
standardized
test. Our 10-year-old just got scores that match up with a sophomore in college.
Well, it's more complicated than that. But she scored in the 99th percentile.
Yeah. Which like you can say
spelling sucks.
Other than spelling,
homeschool kids spelling sucks.
Yeah. Who needs spelling?
Right?
No, but in today's age,
we all have spelling.
Autocorrect and a calculator right in your pocket.
And I think like you can have that on paper, right? And you can see that as far as how testing goes. But I mean, I have experienced that being around your kids. And I think that's one thing I've noticed at Tinsley's is there's a lot of homeschool families. And the homeschool kids, they seem a cut above, I guess, some of the public school kids. I almost feel like, I feel like if they engage with you differently than I guess a public school kid would.
A public school kid is put into a room with other kids their age, and a lot of the time they're told they have to be quiet. The homeschool kids, they interact with everyone of every age, every background.
And they're never quiet.
Yeah.
They see how their parents interact with everybody. They mimic that. They see how you behave at the bank.
Yeah.
What it's like going to the grocery store. They're there for all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I think, public school kids are better at interacting with other kids their age.
That is true.
Because that's what they do. Homeschool kids are better at interacting with adults.
Public school kids are way better at, you give them a math problem or you ask them a question and they're just going to answer you.
Yeah.
They're going to do it and they're going to do it fast.
Homeschool
kid's going to start interrogating you.
Yeah. Why are you asking this question?
Why do you want me to
Why do I need to know this? This isn't important. Where am I going to use this in everyday life? And you go,
where did you find out this information? Why do you, what is your purpose behind this question, Drew?
Which I feel like that the critical thinking that makes this all better, I think, is what the homeschool kid gets that some of the kids that in a more of a structured public school might miss out on,
I was going to see if I can make you flinch.
It's pretty solid, though. It is pretty solid.
I did it on purpose.
But
you were so serious, I had to get you to smile.
It's because her feet are up. That's what it was. Yeah. So was that something that you've pretty much spearheaded most of the educational aspect of
the homeschooling?
She is the homeschool teacher.
Yeah. I am.
For sure.
However, I do definitely cheat because I buy curriculum that has a script.
Okay.
So I'm not trying to come up with whatever and hobcobble. Well, sometimes I hobcobble.
Yeah.
But I know my limitations.
Yeah.
And so I find materials that exceed what I can do. And I've reached the point where I have to relearn algebra. And that sucks. Yeah. That sucks real bad.
Which is
Don't let me.
Kyle will come home for those algebra lessons.
Because I need them. It's funny because I do math-ish. Like I do working man math on stuff in the shop pretty regularly, but you put that stuff in front of me and I'm like, I have no idea.
There are a ton of resources though. So YouTube, amazing.
Yeah.
There's so many different tutoring websites. There's a lot.
And I think that's one thing, like with me and Deanna moving into having kids, it's kind of almost like there's a fear there because it's like, well, how the heck am I going to homeschool a kid? I'm not a teacher, So I think
I've got a list for you.
Yeah.
Seeing y'all do the stuff, right, and just kind of fearlessly do it is inspiring and motivational. And I know that's been for us, and I know other people around our community, jiu-jitsu community, and life feel that way too.
Well, kids are built to learn. Like, kids are gonna learn. You have to force a kid not to learn. Yeah. You put them in an environment where there's information to be had, and they're gonna learn.
Yeah.
The thing that, I guess, fortified my belief that we were capable of doing it was I had a moment of doubt really early on. It was like I think it was after I had ordered curriculum the first time for Rose to do kindergarten. And I was looking at the public school website just to make sure that I was doing the right thing. And I had this big moment of doubt. And then I'm like, wait, I taught her how to walk. Yeah. And I taught her the English language. So how to use a fork, how to use a spoon, how to use all these other things. There is a natural element to it. Yeah. And I was like...
And public school is a relatively new thing. Like, as far as people go, public school is pretty new. So...
And you care about your kid more than anybody else ever will. Not to say public school teachers don't deeply care about what they're doing, but...
They do, but it is different.
Well, it's a whole lot harder to care about, 60 kids than it is to care about 5.
Yeah, and maybe we've gotten to a point in public school that, 100 years ago, there probably wasn't 60 kids to a class or 30 kids to a class.
I have no idea how many kids are in a class nowadays.
But that was one thing. I feel like our generation of public school was kind of that over the hill almost. I feel like, maybe it's just because it was our experience, right? But with us thinking about like, okay, are we going to public school our kids, or how are we going to go about, if we have kids, how are we going to educate our kids? And it's like a no-brainer in my brain, looking at public school and then cell phone use and media and stuff, that it's like, not that it can't be done, sending kids to public school, but it's scary because...
Yeah. Well, like I said before, all 4 of Moose's kids have been public schooled. He's got great kids. They're all sharp. They're all, well acclimated.
Yeah.
He's got 2 that are adults now that are, fully functioning good people.
Yeah.
Like, it can be done. But he's very involved in their
and maybe that's
lives.
The secret to it.
It's not just the kids go to school and they come home and they eat dinner apart from their parents and they go to bed. Like, him and his wife Casey are involved in their kids' lives. And they've put effort in to make sure that their kids don't suck.
Yeah.
That they have their values and all that kind of stuff. And that's probably the majority. That's probably the majority of kids that go to public school and they come out of public school and they're just fine. Like, most people are public schooled.
Yeah.
But there is a chance that that's not going to be the case.
Yeah.
So, like, raising kids is kind of your most important job. So why even take the chance?
Yeah.
If the gamble is, 80-20, 80% of them come out great, 20% of them suck, I'm not taking those odds with my kids.
Yeah. And I think one thing that I want everybody to get from it that I've experienced being around y'all is it can be done. I think that's what maybe holds a lot of people back, is like your experience of, I'm not an educator, I'm not, an academic, how am I going to do this? It can be done from an academic standpoint, and then it can be done from a household standpoint. Like, we can actually do this, because y'all have done it with not just 1 or 2, because that 1 or 2 doesn't seem that daunting, but once you get past 3, now you have a class, So I think that's one thing from y'all's story that is inspiring to us, is like, okay, this can be done. And Rose is old. She's not old, but she's old.
She's old. I'm going to tell her you said that.
She's going to hate that. But
no, she won't. She'll be all about it.
But you see the result of it, right? So proof of concept, Rose.
Yeah.
I took her driving last Sunday.
Yeah, that was a good experience. That's one aspect of homeschooling that you might not think about.
Well, that's homeschool, public school, whatever. At some point, you got to teach your kid how to drive.
Yeah.
And she's, we got to get her signed up for driver's ed. So I wanted her to have a little bit of a head start.
Yeah.
My career is building cars. Like, my kids should be able to drive
a car.
But yeah, it's crazy to have a kid old enough to start driving.
I think that's terrifying. I would be terrifying.
I'm not old enough.
I taught her to drive.
You did.
Well, Deanna doesn't really drive, so.
Yeah, but she knows how.
She knows how.
I did.
She knows how.
I did not.
I taught her how to drive.
What age did you get your driver's license?
20.
Yeah, so Deanna didn't. I don't know. She'll have to come on here and tell us, but she really didn't. She had her driver's license through public school. Like, they kind of, you have to get it. But
interesting.
She didn't drive. I don't think she probably drove till she was probably around that age too, because she had an older sister that went to the same school, so they drove, and then
Yeah, well, her parents wouldn't let her get her license.
Yeah.
Her mom still doesn't have her license.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, but so it was once we moved out. I started trying to teach you when we lived in Connecticut, right?
Yes, and then
you can tell by the tone of her voice how well that went.
Connecticut didn't go that bad, but Connecticut has really bad winters. Not sure if you're aware of that. Yeah. And we got a snowstorm.
And I'm like, this is the perfect time to teach you how to drive.
And it was a lot of snow. It was a whole lot of snow. And then we decided to move, and the snow never went away before we moved. So that was the end of learning how to drive in Connecticut. Mm-hmm. And then down here, I had no use for it. Like did not, there wasn't any place I was trying to go. I couldn't find a job. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, where am I going to go? Yeah. What am I going to do? Right. And once it finally became a thing that I needed it, he tried to teach me. And it was after we got married. Mm-hmm. And I was pregnant, but it was our first pregnancy. So it was the one we had the miscarriage on. And it was a
little stick shift car.
It was a little stick shift car. And we're driving around and it's going okay-ish. And then it starts getting dark and raining. And I stalled the car in an intersection with cars behind me honking, and I started crying.
That was almost the end of the whole family right there.
Almost.
No.
So I didn't drive for a little bit after that.
I handled it pretty well, I think. Maybe. I don't know.
We switched.
Yeah, we switched places.
In a hurry.
Yeah.
Yes. And then I don't think I drove again until we got a different vehicle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which was a failure on my part. We got to get... That's now I want to find an old stick shift car so I can teach Rose how to drive.
Which is good, yeah.
And I was telling one of the guys I was saying that to one of the guys at the gym the other day, and he's in his, what did he say? He said he's 26. He's like, yeah, I'd love to learn to drive a stick. And I'm like, what? You can drive a stick, right?
So I probably could drive a stick. I learned how to drive a stick, but I was 17. So
okay, but you have driven a stick shift car
behind the seat now and performing, I don't know how well I would do that.
It'd take you like 10 minutes to get used to it again, but you'd be fine. It's like riding a bike.
But I think, it is... What's crazy is like no cars really are stick shift anymore. You need to get a new car.
You have to like special request them, I think.
Maybe some of the sports cars, but most of them are the flappy paddle shifters now.
Well, I would think if anybody could find one, you'd probably be a good person to.
That's the goal. That's the goal, because my son will know how to drive a stick. Period. And all my girls should also know how to drive a stick, including my wife.
I think I could at this point.
Yeah, you would be a better learner now because you're less emotionally charged now.
Yeah.
It's funny because, like, the driver's license thing, right? Maybe somebody will say this. Hopefully somebody says this in the comments. Of, like, you don't drive. You drive now.
I drive now, yes.
You kind of have to. But, like, with Deanna, it's like people will see that and be like, it's a control thing. Like, her husband's
it's
to go place. Mm-hmm. But it's so not. And I think that's kind of what you explained of, like, if I need to go somewhere, I'll go with my husband.
All I would have to do is say, Kyle, I wanna, and he'd say yes. Mm-hmm. I didn't even have to finish the statement.
Which she never, ever says, I wanna, but yeah.
But don't get me wrong. I get, because people will comment, I get the dynamic of if you didn't have a driver, there would be an element of control there.
There's a big
but in
difference
a healthy relationship.
And even now, like she's got the mom bus. We have a 12-passenger van, so we have a bunch of kids. She can go wherever she wants, whenever she wants. Yeah.
I don't feel the need.
But we still grocery shop together. Mm-hmm. We still drive together most of the time to the gym. Like most of probably 80% of our driving we're doing together. Because we want to spend the time together. Mm-hmm. She could grocery shop while I'm at work. Rose babysits, Liza babysits. But we like doing those things together. Like I hate grocery shopping. She hates grocery shopping. Mm-hmm. It sucks slightly less when we do it together. So
I feel like it's chivalry.
Yeah, sure.
Like
I can see
the idea of being driven around. It's nice. It's like old fashioned manners.
Yeah, right.
It's like holding the door. You drive. I get to sit there and feel like I'm gonna fall asleep.
Yeah,
I think you're right. And the women just can't drive as well. So it's just that was my thought when you said that. But all jokes aside. Deanna would say...
I resisted your... Hell yeah.
I just said it. But Deanna would say the same thing. It's kind of like, why would I? That's something... Honestly, it kind of perturbs me when you see people driving around, husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, and the girls driving. Nothing against that. I get if your boyfriend, girlfriend, the car, it might be her car, so she drives. But...
there's some men nowadays that can't drive with the damn, so...
Yeah, that's true. But you see it maybe it's a cultural thing, but you see, like, especially in Elizabeth City, you see it sometimes. You see a woman driving, she's doing her thing, and you see this guy in the passenger seats all the way back. He just looks like a clown. Like everything about him, and he's got his radio.
Cell phone in his face.
He's got his radio going, like doing what he's doing, right? And there she is, chauffeuring him around, and it's like a cold just.
She probably holds the door for him too.
Yeah, and it seems so disrespectful for the man to treat his woman that way. It always kind of perturbs me when I see it.
Yeah.
It's one of those service to others things.
Yeah. Well, and you just said his woman, and somebody might hear that and go, "Oh, I can't believe you just said." But truthfully, like, I love getting the opportunity to serve.
Yeah.
Like, I like holding the door for her. I like driving her around, not because it makes me feel like I'm superior in any way, but like exactly the opposite. It makes me feel like I'm doing an act of service for my bride. Like, I want to do these things to show that you are important. So I open the door for you.
Yeah.
You know, you're important, so I'm happy to drive you around. Like, you're important to me, so I want to go grocery shopping with you.
Like Jerri-Lynn said, passenger princess. Like, that's what it is. That's
exactly.
What it is. And that's a good thing. You know, I get the negative connotation that people might use that sometimes, but that's a good thing, right?
Well, when I was growing up, in all fairness, my dad did not want us to get our licenses. My brother could get his, me and my sister, my mom.
Late too, though.
My brother,
like 20 something.
Yeah, but he didn't want us driving. And he had his reasons for it, but not necessarily good reasons.
Yeah.
So I do understand that happens, but I think by and large, it's nice to be driven around.
Yeah.
It's really nice to be driven around.
So women take note of that perspective. I mean, hopefully people see that and they're like, yeah, that does kind of make sense.
I mean, if I said, why don't you let me drive? He would give me the keys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I like being driven around.
And he'd be annoyed in the passenger seat like this.
Well,
No, she's a good. I taught her how to drive. She's a great driver. So, you know.
And usually the only time I really drive, if we're both in the car, is if we're doing road trips.
Which,
and we swap off.
We swap back and forth.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
But so shifting gears a little bit, one thing that you see in today's culture is a very self-centered version of marriage and children. We get married to have a better life for ourselves. We have kids because they're great for us, right?
Great accessories.
Yeah, great accessories. But I think y'all have been a good example of the impact that a strong marriage, strong children can be on the people and community you're around. Maybe that's something that y'all do that is probably hard to comment on because y'all are the center going out of that, and I'm that outside benefiting. But how has that been as y'all have grown as a family, more kids, older kids? Have y'all found that it having a stronger household allows you to serve in a better capacity to the people around you? Kind of a tough question.
I mean, I could go with a really, really literal answer of yes, because we have more hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
It's true.
yeah. Well, and I mean, as the kids get older, like, you know, Rose and Liza are watching the other kids right now.
Yeah.
So that we can be here doing this.
Yeah.
So there's that for sure. I mean,
See, y'all are the center of it. So everyone else gets to benefit from it.
Yeah.
I mean, I
guess.
guess it gives us more experiences, so we have a more diverse range of things to draw on.
Yeah. Well, and it's maybe it's oddly like selfish or self-centered towards my little family commune, whatever. That was probably not the right word to use. Whatever.
I liked it.
Yeah.
Like, I will try and be of service more intentionally so that my kids see it, so that they are more likely to be of service.
Yeah.
Like, we were driving home from the gym the other night, and this is not a good example. I don't know. I'm sure this guy won't hear this, but if he did, sorry, dude. But we're driving home from the gym. It's late. It's dark. And there's a dude walking down the road
In the middle of nowhere.
flagging down cars with his flashlight. And I've got multiple kids in the truck. So I slowed down and stopped, rolled the window down. I'm like, hey man, what's up? He's like, man, my truck ran out of gas. He's carrying a gas can. He's like, can I get a ride to the gas station? And we're, 8-10 miles from the gas station.
Yeah.
We're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, I'm sorry. I got a bunch of kids in the truck. I can't I can't let you ride with me.
In the car, yeah.
I'm like, throw the gas can in the back. I'll get you gas. I'll meet you back at your car. And he was probably like, bro's just going to drive off with my gas can. Which, you know, he's like, okay, that's fine. Puts the gas can in the back of the truck. We turn around, go back to the gas station. Which is, it's a little thing. It's not a big deal. It wasn't even a big gas can, 2 gallons of gas. But my kids, as soon as we drive away, my kids go, I love it when you're Batman.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
like, that's not because, oh, hey, I did a good thing. Who cares? 2 gallons of gas, whatever. But, in their mind, it shows them, we want to be of service when we can.
Yeah.
And, maybe I could have let the dude climb in the back of the truck and I don't know, whatever. But, we helped the guy out in the way we could.
Yeah. And I think that, like, looking at the bigger picture, like, you have multiple children that are going to go out into the world and have that mentality because they've seen and experienced that with y'all, and think of all the people that the multiplier of them is going to be in their environments, in their future marriages and bigger families. And I mean, y'all have potential to have a lot of little.
I know. I hope so. I hope so. I want a full house for Christmas.
Yeah.
We're going to take over a town.
Or you'll just be a town. One of the two.
Yeah.
Start our own.
Liza the other day, Jerri-Lynn was asking her what she wants to do because she had talked about being a doctor, being a nurse, and she said, I really want to be a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
And to me, that's like,
that's cool.
I mean, I had to kind of put her into place in a way and be like, well, I love that. That's a fantastic goal.
You still need to know how to do things.
We still need to have you learn a skill that can be usable as an adult that way. You're probably not going to get married at 18 to a man who's perfectly stable and you can be a stay-at-home mom from day one.
But just and it wasn't like, well, great, I'm excited that she doesn't want to go to college and get,
No.
It wasn't that. It was just, okay, obviously she doesn't want to be a stay-at-home dad. She wants to be a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
So she's the example of this.
Yeah.
But, obviously we're doing something right enough to where
She sees that.
she sees that as a good enough thing where that's where she wants to do.
There's enough value in being a stay-at-home mom in her brain that's a cool thing to go do.
Yeah.
And she's 12 and she's wanted to be either a doctor or a nurse since she was probably 3.
Which are noble professions.
Yeah.
So,
Doctors and nurses are awesome.
And we were all for it. We're like, all right, let's make sure that you're learning all the things that you need so that whenever you reach high school, you can take the right courses and then you can go to college and you'll be set up. And she now that does not have as much appeal as being home with stinky laundry, a pile of dishes, and 3 kids who are crying.
Which is awesome. And that's one thing that I've wanted to do with the podcast and always thought of, like, that's lost in our world. Like, to have a kid be like, I want to be a stay-at-home mom.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Like,
even
where do
just-
you hear that?
Even just if she wasn't a stay-at-home mom, if she were in a career or whatever, but for your kid to look at the parent and go, I want to do what you do, I think that's really cool. Like,
is
as
really
a parent, that's a major compliment.
Absolutely.
When I was growing up, I always looked at my dad and was like, I'm going to do what you do. And it was respect for him. It was respect for what he did. I saw how hard he worked. I saw how he provided for the family. And I mean, I don't do what he did. In some ways, I do similar. But, like, I wanted to take after my dad in working hard, providing for a family, and there were some things that I wanted to do different, like, one wife, ideally. But that wasn't his choice per se. But I saw who he was and what he did as, like you said, as noble. Yeah. And I wanted that.
Yeah.
And I think that's, I hope that all of my kids, not that I necessarily am fixed on all 4 of my daughters being stay-at-home moms, but if they all grew up and be stay-at-home moms, I'm going to be super excited.
And you'll probably have a lot of grandkids in that scenario.
And I'll probably have a lot of grandkids, which would be great. If Mark grows up and wants to do what I do, I'm going to teach him what the downsides of that are, but, I'd be honored by that too. Or even just wanting to work with his hands. I think there's something to that.
Yeah. And we talked about that a little bit on one of the past podcasts, but, like, even just the skill sets that you have, whether he does exactly what you do or not. Like, you don't do exactly what your dad did. But
right.
He passed those skill sets of his craftsmanship to you, and you took that in a different direction, which if he hadn't intentionally done that, you would have
do it.
I'm fidgeting.
if you hadn't intentionally done that, you may not have gone on to do what you do, and you may not have even possessed the skill sets to do what you do.
And even as I'm sitting here thinking as you're talking, waiting for my turn to talk, because that's a good habit to have. Even more so than profession, I do want our kids to look at our relationship and want that. Yeah. Like, would I be super excited if Mark was like, I want to work with my hands when I grow up? Yes. Am I excited that Liza likes the idea of being a stay-at-home mom? Yes. What I care about more than that is them desiring good, healthy marriages. Like, everything else, you can figure everything else out. Yeah. Like Jerri-Lynn was just saying, we went through a couple of years where it was like everything was hard. Everything was hard. Work was hard because we weren't making any money at all. Home was hard because we had young children or super young child, kids on the way. We weren't making we weren't making any money. We weren't sure how we were going to buy groceries and diapers and pay the mortgage and all the things. Hormone stuff that she had to deal with. Like, we had a couple of years that were really, really, really hard. Yeah. But there was never a point where I was like, screw this, call it quits.
Yeah.
I want our kids to be able to
have that.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing when you prioritize marriage at the forefront, before the career, before all that other things, that's when you have a healthy marriage. Mm-hmm. Not the career and things like that aren't important, but like the bottom line is you're going to be married to that person, till you die.
Yeah, the careers and all the other things should be to support the marriage. The marriage is not to support those other things. Like, the marriage is the primary thing. Mm-hmm. If this place shut down tomorrow, if there was no more cars to build, there was no more jiu-jitsu to do, there's everything that I do with my hands and my mind and all those things was gone. She's the thing that stays, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah,
that's what I care about the most.
Mm-hmm. And that's where the strength, I feel like, comes from in marriage, is when you have that perspective, and that's one thing you see, and y'all have done so well from the outside looking in. So I have a question as we're approaching our hour. Jiu-jitsu as a married couple. This was like one that what is that experience? Obviously, Kyle trained before you did, so let's just walk from the start of that. Kyle started training jiu-jitsu
because he was serious. Yeah, he had to soften it up.
Kyle started jiu-jitsu because he was weak and vulnerable.
Right, that's close. That's pretty close.
And he started this journey.
It's a darn shame that we don't have our role from today on camera.
Yeah. See, I can say that because I know that I get beat up by Kyle. So, like, it's funny. They might be like, oh, because they don't know. I know. But
it's fine.
So, Kyle beats me up pretty bad. Really bad, honestly.
You get your chance too.
We've rolled a lot, and I think I've maybe
cried.
Tapped him once. Maybe once.
Well, there's been more than that.
I think it's been one time. I mean, I've been in positions where, like, okay, I'm in, like, side control on Kyle, or I pass his guard, which is rare, but I think it's only actually happened once.
You're keeping track closer than I am.
Well, it's one time, so it's not hard to keep track of. But
like, Drew gives me updates.
Yeah. I've gotten Tyler one time, so just Tyler, because I know it bothers him way more than it bothers Kyle. I got him one time in the gi. And I know he remembers.
So I rolled with Donnie Thursday night, and he smashed me worse than I have been smashed in.
Good.
Probably since I was a blue belt. It was awesome.
Good.
Like, that's the first time I don't think I've ever tapped to someone's pressure. That was probably the closest I've ever been. Like, I'm a brown belt. And I really contemplated like, I can't take it anymore.
Non-jiu-jitsu people, tapping to pressure, especially as you progress, is like kind of...
It's totally shameful. We don't do that. Yeah, you accept, and I did. I accepted. I said, this is where I die.
I did do it once.
Well, you're a girl. It's different.
It's different.
It is different. It is different.
So when he started, how did he get you to start doing jiu-jitsu in the first place?
Begging.
Yeah.
Begging, pleading, crying on the ground.
No.
No.
Was it something you wanted to do?
Okay.
Or no, like you didn't want to do it?
I am a painful introvert.
Hence the fidgeting.
Sorry.
That helps her cope with the
That is my
introvertness.
coping.
Put it in my hair.
Okay. So the idea, and I didn't like people touching me.
Yeah, I get that.
Like I didn't want hugs.
Other than me.
Yeah,
That's the 5
don't.
kids.
Not even
Touching
the
required.
kids all the time. Like there are days where the kids they have to be an arm's length away.
Yeah.
Like don't stand close to me to where you could high five me. That's too close. I need my space.
Yeah.
So the idea of rolling around with someone
It was bad.
on the ground, someone I didn't necessarily know, their sweat dripping onto my face was absolutely,
You were really selling jiu-jitsu for all the other
absolutely horrendous. That was like not in my stomach, make me feel nauseous.
doing it.
Awful.
He's twitching with the thing.
That's what
I'm contagious.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was horrendously awful sounding. So no, I did not want to do it. Like in the way that
I just want to listen to the story.
when you watch a movie and you see like a spy doing some sort of crazy flippy thing, and you're like, oh man, that would be fun. Kind of like that, but to actually think about doing it, no, I did not want to do it. I did not.
So how'd you get her to do it? You made her
Yeah,
do it,
wow.
essentially?
I made her cry.
He did.
Of course.
He did.
Yeah.
Well, we finally, after him telling me enough times that he thought I would really like it and that it would help me deal with some frustration and anxiety and boost my confidence, it's like, fine. I will consider doing it. And he's like, well.
And, you know, the thing that us men suck at considering is, so at this point I'm training 3-4 days a week, probably. I don't think I was training 5-6 days a week yet.
No.
2, 3, 4 days a week, you know, and I'm enjoying it, and it's obvious that I'm enjoying it. Well, she's at home with the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she was getting jealous. Like, not so much jealous, and correct me if I'm wrong, not so much jealous of
I get it.
these people that I'm with, but jealous that I have this thing.
yeah, he had a different life.
She's
This
working.
was the other woman in the other town. Jiu-jitsu was a woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu was Kyle's work wife.
Jiu-jitsu
Kinda,
was,
yeah.
yes.
So, and like, I was really enjoying this, and I was benefiting from it, but she wasn't.
Yeah.
No, it was a negative thing for me.
Yeah, it just
So-
put more on her plate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was like,
And in a way, that probably made me less likely to do it.
Yeah, that makes sense. It does.
But we finally discussed it, and I was like, all right, I will try it if there's a women's class. If they ever start a women's class, I'll try it.
well, and even before that, I got you to come train here with me a couple times.
But that was because Donnie was talking about doing a women's class. So you were prepping me that way I would get.
That's right.
Because I had no coordination. I would literally fall walking. I was so
I wonder
clumsy.
if I have any like video of you those first couple days.
I think you do. Maybe
Maybe we have to share it, because it was like, I mean, you see how she trains now and how she rolls now.
Yeah.
She's a different human.
Yeah.
Like,
but you were prepping me that way I wouldn't panic
Once you get there.
Once I got there, once somebody was touching me, I wouldn't hurt myself, or I'd be less likely to hurt myself because I was that clumsy.
Yeah.
And then sure enough, here's a women's class. So I went, I almost cried. It probably took a month of classes before I wasn't gonna cry. And now I'm addicted.
yeah, she got like worse than me.
It is
for a while.
addicting.
Oh no, I could completely go back there. I could do it 7 days a week.
Yeah. We were training 7 days a week. I was training 6 days a week. She was training 7 days a week.
Yes, and Saturdays was technically 2 classes, and then we would do Sunday mornings with Joe, and then we'd train at the shop.
Yeah.
So 7 days, 2 of those days were twice.
Yeah. So,
Which is awesome.
yeah. Although I was like, okay, I'm breaking.
But
I'm not.
It's an interesting perspective of, y'all have always been very connected in what you've done. You know, me and Deanna have been that way too. And I can definitely see how that perspective of, okay, Kyle has this thing that, because everything else before that.
But we haven't been. There have been times like when I was working at FanWorks or when we first opened the shop or when I was working on this building where we weren't super connected in what we were doing. And those are the rough times.
Yeah.
Like, and again, like, you know, if you disagree, say something, but we've gotten, I think, pretty good at when those things start to happen, one of us will say, hey, this is a problem now, or this is becoming a problem.
We talk a lot.
A lot.
There you go.
Because, I mean, I would say, you know, from my perspective, we have a pretty perfect marriage. Like, I'm the luckiest guy in the world. Like, I've got 5 great kids. I have a beautiful wife. We, you know, all those things that make Drew blush are great. Like, all of that is, like, I literally have nothing to complain about. I wish nothing were different. I love my life. I love my marriage. I love my kids. Like, it's great.
Yeah.
Not that every day is awesome and every day is easy, but it is an adventure, and it is an adventure in a positive direction. Yeah. But sometimes, like, that's my perspective, and she's like, yeah, you feel like it's awesome because I'm the one doing all of the things. Like, I'm the one dealing with the kids. I'm the one dealing with the dishes. I'm the one dealing with the laundry. I'm the one getting everybody ready for class. Like, you get to go and work and come back and then go train jiu-jitsu. Like, yeah, your life is awesome. I'm the one doing everything.
Yeah.
But now I have to interject for a second because I've heard so many people say 50-50. It should be 50-50. 50-50 doesn't work. Everybody needs to try and apply 100.
Yeah.
Well, and the reality is, like, sometimes I'm going to be willing and able to give 100, and she's going to be willing and able to give none. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that flips.
Yeah.
And sometimes I can give 50 and she give 50. Sometimes we can both give 100, and then everything is awesome. Mm-hmm. But yeah, 50-50 that's a recipe for disaster.
It divides the roles, it divides, whereas we should be doing all these things together. You know, not saying that there's not separate roles and jobs inside the marriage.
There's separate roles, but you should be ready to help take care of each other.
Yeah, you don't have to split the thing down the middle and go, okay, well, this is your stuff and this is my stuff. If you're both bought into the relationship, we're just going to do the stuff.
Yeah.
Like, hey, this needs done, I'm going to do it. You know, she's like, oh, hey, this needs done, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
You know, hey, babe, can you handle that? I'm dealing with this. Sure, no problem.
Yeah.
Or maybe sometimes it's, no, I really can't deal with that right now. Okay, well, I'll do it. No problem. I got it. Like, we're human. Like, we're not robots. We can't program 50-50 all the time.
I think, so communication for me and Deanna has been huge. Like, that's something that is huge for us, and we communicate and talk all the time. Like, all the time. We're very, we're around each other all the time, just like y'all's marriage is. But I think for us, that's been the biggest thing. And there's a weird thing. I keep saying it's cultural, but it's weird for people to say what Kyle just said of, like, I love my marriage. It's great. Not that we don't have struggles.
I hope it's not that weird.
I hope that it's not weird and it's becoming not weird to say that. But, like, she sent me a meme the other day that was basically that. Like, you can say that. Like, you can say that you have a great marriage and it's awesome and you love it and everything is awesome. That doesn't mean that you don't have hardships together.
Yeah, right.
But I can say, like, we can say we have, like, it's a great, perfect marriage. Like, I get the word perfect has some connotations to it, right?
But what's perfect? That's like when I think I was talking to Mateo and I said, happily ever after sounds like crap. Like, that sounds terribly boring to me. And forever on, they never had any problems, and there was never an argument. Boring. There was never fight. Like, that sucks. Give me an adventure. Like, sometimes adventures suck. Like, sometimes they're hard. But that's, like, our marriage is awesome because we've dealt with difficult things. Like, because it's kind of hard to have 5 kids sometimes. Like, not in a bad way, but if everything were always peaches and rainbows or whatever, and we never ever bickered and we never argued and we saw every single thing exactly the same, how boring would that be? Yeah. Like, that would be awful. If you're doing jiu-jitsu and absolutely everything you want to do, you're able to just do without any resistance. It would suck. It'd be boring. And what's the point? Like, it's fun to come against a little bit of resistance.
You're going to say a little person.
Sometimes.
It's me.
Depends on the little person. I rolled with TJ earlier. He's a little person, but dang, he's getting good. Strong. So strong.
We'll just always call him a little person. He's just always a little person to me. He's younger than me. He's my brother-in-law. He's physically kind of smaller.
I broke Drew earlier.
It was so weird. I guess like I've never really thought that way about it because TJ was so young when we started dating.
Drew and TJ slap and bump, and I'm sitting there and I look over and I go, TJ, I hear Drew's nailing your sister.
And it was so for me. I didn't even. I was like, what? I like heard it and I was like, didn't even really think. And then I thought I was like, oh. But it's like I've always been around.
Drew's married to TJ's sister.
Yeah.
Just
So
I'll be honest. I was there for that. I did hear that, but I needed to hear it again.
And I don't know, but TJ was proud. I don't even know how TJ thinks about that concept, but because I've always been like, because how old was TJ when we started dating? I mean, he would have been young. He was young, so like he's always been.
He's probably never thought about it either.
I was thinking about it now.
He has to go reach his ears.
Yeah, but. It's like he's always kind of been in my life, like since I've been an adult, right? And he's pretty much always been there, which is awesome, you know. But Kyle threw that in there. I don't know if it helped me or if it helped Kyle or helped TJ in the role. I don't know.
It certainly helped me. That felt great. I'm all about making you guys feel uncomfortable. It was wonderful.
Which is good. It pushes the boundaries a little bit, which I understand because I don't curse. I'm more conservative. Reserved, I guess is a good word.
Yeah.
But I go to work every day, and those people
well, okay, so the whole cussing thing is because I went for, I think the whole time I worked at Phantom Works, which wasn't that long, 3 years or whatever, I never cussed. Yeah. Like I went a few years, like I listened to K-Love Radio and, you know, I never cussed. And I've never been polished, but I was better at wearing the like good guy hat, I guess. Yeah. But that's not. It was kind of fake. Like it was kind of phony. Yeah. And like I do try not to be super vulgar. I have my days, and I am working on that. But yeah, I just try and be genuine.
Yeah.
Not like in a my truth and be your own whatever. Not that. Just in a, like, if I tell you something, you know that that's what I mean.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to polish it up any more than absolutely necessary for, you know, depending on what company we're around. But I don't know. Because I have plenty of friends and, you know, you don't strike me as this, and I've known you long enough to where you're just a better person than me, Drew. And that's okay. True. And that's okay.
But you're nicer.
Maybe I'm nicer.
You are nicer.
Maybe.
Yes,
but I'm not. Not in the same way.
Well, whatever.
It's a different way.
Yeah.
But you are like a genuinely nice person.
I try to be.
You're friendly.
Friendly's a good word.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But.
Except for when your hair's sad.
My hair gets sad.
Yeah.
We skipped right over that. He had long black hair.
Oh yeah, we'll go back to that. But like, I know the group of people that I spent time around, you know, about the time when we met. You know, these guys who at that point they would have never listened to me because I was a kid. Everybody I hung around with was older than me. But me today, if I were around them then, they would listen to me.
Yeah.
They wouldn't listen to you.
Yeah, which I get.
And like, don't take
that.
offense.
No,
don't take offense to that.
That makes sense.
But part of my ability to speak to my people, is like I'm one of them.
Yeah,
you know, I understand. I'm a dirtbag too.
That makes sense. It does make sense. It does.
So I could probably handle a little bit of sanding and polishing at this point, but you know, I am what I am.
So, to sum it up, we'll just avoid the long black hair. Just anytime he jokes my hair, I just know that he has
I'll get you a picture.
Yeah.
I mean,
and then you can use that
as I'm in no rush. I don't know what your timeline is, but We're good on whatever.
Okay. I do have to cut it somewhat short.
Good.
It's Valentine's Day.
Oh, yeah.
It is.
Yeah, that's fair.
Is.
I'm with my Valentine, so I'm good.
It's true. I want to definitely get this in there. Some marriage advice from both of y'all. Mm-hmm. Who's going to start? Just in general. It can be simple. I mean, I know you've given a lot throughout the episode so far.
I'll give two. One that I always give, and it's been heard at this point. Don't talk shit about your spouse to other people, ever. Even if you're having problems, everybody has problems from time to time. Don't ever complain about your spouse to other people in a way that is degrading to them. There's a difference between, you're my friend and I trust you, and me going, hey man, we're really struggling with this right now. Yeah. There's a huge difference between that and saying, man, that woman's been whatever, or she's such a whatever. Yeah. Don't ever do that, ever. And if you start to think that way, that's one of those, take every thought captive. You need to take that thought captive and choke it to death and throw it out. Because that is a terrible, terrible habit, and it only points in one direction. Saying how terrible your spouse is will never, ever, ever, ever point you towards a better marriage. It will not. Other thing is, don't ever use the word divorce. Like, if y'all are fighting, don't ever use that word. That word does not exist. It's not an option. It's not in the cards. It's not on the table. Yeah. Like, every marriage at some point will drive on rocky road. Like, if you're doing life together, life gets complicated sometimes. You're not going to see eye to eye on something. There will be struggle at some point for everybody. It doesn't matter who you are. It's going to happen. That's never in the cards. The only thing in the cards is we figure it out, we fix it, we make it better. Yeah. Period. End of story.
And on the point one, I want to interject, because working in law enforcement, I work around a lot of other people, a lot of other men, and the best way to describe it, I guess anybody that works maybe in like a corporate environment maybe understands it, or in law enforcement or the military, it's kind of like high school. There's that type of dynamic, because there's so many other coworkers. It's not just 4 or 5 of them. You have hundreds of them. And that one thing of hearing husbands complain about their spouse, I don't know what the best word would be, but just their ability to even do. I can't even imagine going to work and complaining about my spouse.
Well, think about it this way.
I don't understand how they do it so easily, and it's so harmful.
So that same guy, if you went back in time to when their marriage was, they were in their honeymoon stage, and you walked up to him and said, man, your wife is such a miserable whatever, how would he feel about that?
Yeah.
I mean, if he's a decent husband, he'd probably smack you in the mouth. So why would
you say it? Why
would I say that about my wife when I would probably hurt somebody else for saying it about my wife? Like, my job first and foremost, like, even in many ways above and before protecting and serving my children, is to protect and serve this woman. Like, my job is to stand in front of her when shit comes our way. Yeah. Now, I don't always do a good job of that, but that is my goal. Yeah. Always. That's the primary role that I carry. So if my job is to stand in front of her and take the arrows, why would I throw arrows at her?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
And it just builds that bitterness that, even if it's that little bit, the more you fester in that, the more that builds, And like we talked about once before, most of the people that you're saying it to aren't going to have critical feedback. They're just going to be like, yeah,
I can't believe she did. I can't believe she did that.
And you're kind of making her out to sound awful.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
But
and how does your wife feel? Your wife knows you're talking shit.
Yeah.
When I'm not around, she knows that I've got her back.
Exactly. And I think that is a powerful thing.
And I screw up plenty, and I do dumb stuff all the time, and I make her mad. Not all the time, but from time to time I make her mad. But even then, even when we're fighting, she knows I'm not going to leave the house and come here and complain to Moose about how terrible she is. Yeah. And I wouldn't do that. She knows I wouldn't do that. So Yeah, those are my two like big ones. All right, you're on the spot.
The wise, you know.
Mine. Okay. I've given this a lot lately. Mm-hmm. Treat each other with respect. So, I don't know. Just be respectful. Just generally be respectful. And if you're having a problem, talk it through. Doesn't matter if you're up till 3 o'clock in the morning, unless you're like a doctor and you have to be at the hospital.
Yeah, you have surgery at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
At 5 a.m., you don't have anything that is more important than that relationship at that moment, and you need to sit and talk it through.
Yep.
Yeah. I think that's powerful advice that I think a lot of people probably need to hear. I mean, I know that y'all do that because Kyle's told me, and I know me and Deanna have done that, you know.
Yeah.
And it makes a huge difference, you know. I just think there's a lot that happens in all of us, in our minds, and when we don't talk it out and don't come to some type of conclusion prior to that not being together anymore, not long term, but just short term, it just is extremely beneficial.
And the more you talk about your problems, the easier it is to talk about them, and you don't let it fester as much.
Yeah. I mean, have sex as often as reasonably possible is also good advice. Like, it's easy and obvious, or it should be easy and obvious. But I mean, we know people that don't.
If you're being respectful, you're treating each other well. You're respecting each other's boundaries, whatever those might be. You're talking things through. My assumption would be that's going to happen.
Yeah,
I would just think.
I think that's a good assessment. Yeah. But I think people hear that and they're like, oh, you know. But it's true. Yeah. It is true. You know, God intended us to have that in a marriage.
I think it's weird. It's like a double-edged sword. The conservative Christian community doesn't talk about it, I think, as much as they probably should. Like, it's almost a taboo thing. But it's not. How many times is sex mentioned in the Bible? Like, it's in the first book of the Bible over and over and over and over and over. And the secular world is all about it. Like, over the last several months, just about every podcast that I have subscribed to or whatever has had some kind of sex therapist or sex whatever on. And you know how many of them come from a faith background?
Zero.
Yeah, and you know how terrible the advice most of them give is? It's zero.
Oh, he sent me one. It was bad.
Yeah, it's crazy. Was so bad. I've listened to a couple of them out of curiosity. I'm like, somebody's going to come up with something that they're going to say this. And I'm like, okay, that's pretty solid advice. No, so much it was like, oh my gosh, that's terrible. Like, okay, that's going to lead to one fun night followed by a lifetime of misery.
Yeah.
The one lady was talking about how polyamorous relationships are healthy, and I'm like, what? Even the guy she was talking to, who is not a Christian in any way, was like, what? Come again? He's like, I don't see how that's going to work out long term. You know what her response was? Well, how often do monogamous relationships last that long term? I'm like, this is total crap.
I can say this. I don't know any guy that would want that. Who would want that? Who would want your significant other out there sleeping with some other person?
Well, see, but that's generally really not the way they see it. It's another woman. It's like, oh, we add another woman.
But sometimes it's not.
Sometimes it's... But and that's the porn industry has created that, like, oh, the two girls thing. That's all. It's hot. But that's, oh gosh, and that's a rabbit hole to go down. But it's not as seen on TV.
Yeah.
It is not as seen on. I have friends that have gone down that path, and it didn't work out for any of them.
Yeah. But that is become such a normalized thing. And I think it's very self-centered. They're giving sex advice for, like, that person to have a better sex life versus having a healthier relationship sexually as a married couple, it's very self-centered. You know, that person is your, I hate to call them sex partner, but they're your husband and wife. Like, that's who I feel like we should be coming closer to and learning how to have a more enjoyable experience. Not this self-centered.
Also goes back to the communication.
Yeah,
exactly.
For sure.
Yeah,
There we
exactly.
go. I have one more piece of advice. Talk about sex.
Yeah.
That's good advice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And which, usually leads to sex. I mean, honestly. But like the one lady, he's like, well, are you in a relationship? She's like, well, I'm divorced and I'm in an open relationship now. And he's like, even this guy was like, I don't know. But yeah, I think we have done a major disservice in pushing sex under the rug. Like it doesn't happen. And that's not good. Like if you're married, I hope you're having sex pretty regularly.
It's part of having a healthy marriage, and it's something that young people should look forward to.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, this has been awesome for me. I don't know if it's been cool for y'all. This has been a cool experience. Yeah.
You smiled and laughed a couple times. You did. You did.
She got
I'm
her
trying to
fidget
ignore
thing back.
this.
Well, that's kind of the whole point. Is we just.
What's funny is you say that, and when I watch some of the Mateo episode, it's amazing how much he like looks at it.
Yeah.
Because I think probably the first time we did it, it was like.
I keep looking at my shoes.
Yeah.
But
I don't know.
You're talking to a bunch of invisible people.
I was going to say, well, I've been
really
looking at you two, so they just see this side of my head where I have this big thing of ghee burn right here from somebody's ghee scrubbing across my. It was probably Donnie again when he was crushing me.
Was. Well, we'll sum this Valentine's Day up so I can get home to my Valentine.
There we go.
And I think it's been awesome. I think this is something maybe we can do again. Maybe.
Yeah, we'll come back and do the story of me with long hair.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
There's lots more things that I want to hear you say about from when we were young and dating that.
This was a first. This is to get her over that hump
Gotcha.
of like the first podcast episode. Well.
Right on.
Been Iron and Grace.
Thanks for listening. Come again next time.
Out the thingy.